Welcome to this week's video. In this week's video, I am going to be talking about the connection between the lymph system and thyroid health. So, I am Julie with Balanced Life with Julie, regenerative health practitioner and holistic nutritionist. If you are new to my channel, I talk about all things regenerative health and how you can support your body in healing itself 100. I've reversed hypothyroidism and Hashimoto's, and I'm here to share with you all of the things that I have learned on my health journey in the hopes that you're able to apply it to your life and reclaim your own health and vitality. Before we get into the content for this week, I wanted to share that my first book, Finding Light, is out. It is available on Amazon. Every single person who reads this book tells me how much they really appreciated everything that I share in this book. I do share about my own personal journey, what created illness in my body, and all of the tools, the modalities, the things that I have utilized to restore my own health and vitality. So the book is there. Make sure you go and you pick it up. So I'm going to share my screen because I have a wonderful little presentation for you this week. I like having visuals, especially when it comes to talking about certain systems in the body, because even though I'm a total geek when it comes to health and well being, I know that a lot of people don't actually understand all of the different parts of the body, don't necessarily understand the names and what things look like. So I want to give you a visual. So our lymph system is a really big, it's a major system within our body. And I can tell you when I was studying, nutrition, holistic nutrition, I didn't really have as deep an appreciation for how powerful the lymph system is and how important it is for our health and well-being. And I think part of it was just the lymphatic system was presented when I was studying nutrition. But when I started studying regenerative health, the lymph system actually took on a whole new meaning. So our lymph system runs throughout our whole body, just like our blood system. 20% of the fluid in your body is blood, and 80% of the fluids in your body are actually your lymphatic system. So not only do we have it running throughout our body, but we also have it running like interstitially between the cells. So, our blood is what is responsible for feeding our cells and tissues. It brings oxygen and nutrients to our cells. But our lymphatic system is responsible for taking out the trash. So, there is this 80-20 contrast that's going on. And what I find really interesting that because blood only makes up 20% of the fluids, to me, as I look at this, it actually seems more important that our body is actually able to expel and get rid of the waste that gets accumulated within our system. Because what happens is when our lymphatic system isn't functioning at its optimal, and when we're not eliminating properly, what ends up happening is that waste actually starts to back up into our blood system. So every time problems will show up in your lymph system first before they will show up in your blood system. What's interesting is that in Western medicine, there is a lot of focus on getting the blood tested and looking at the numbers. But I can tell you quite honestly, I've had many people come to me with really good blood work, and yet they don't feel good. And the reason that they don't feel good is what's happening is that their body is not able to get rid of the waste accumulation within. And so that's part of the reason why somebody doesn't feel good. So those initial aches and pains, that brain fog, that lethargy can actually be indicative of what is happening within the lymph system. So, in regenerative health, we put a very big focus on kidney filtration and the lymphatic system because it is so important for our overall health and vitality. And the thyroid gland, if you're not familiar with the thyroid gland, or thyroid gland is a gland that's like a butterfly shaped gland at our throat, and it is responsible for regulating every single metabolic process within the body. Now, the two ways that the thyroid gland can go is when it's hyper, it means it's actually running too fast. So, some of the warning signs that your thyroid gland could be overactive is maybe accelerated heart rate, sweating, sudden weight loss, bulging eyes is one of the other indications. And it's actually not ideal. We don't want to have a thyroid gland that's running hyper. Now, on the other end, we've got hypothyroidism. When it's hypo, this means that metabolic processes are actually slowing down. So, this could mean sluggish digestion. It could mean issues with circulation, so cold hands and feet, hair loss, mood disorders, so depression, gut issues. So, all of these things are actually connected to a sluggish thyroid gland. So, you might be watching this going, well, what is the connection between the lymph and the thyroid gland? So, this is where it's really important to understand and look at our body as a whole system, not as isolated parts. Our body is this beautiful symphony of different systems. And often, what happens is when one thing comes out of balance, it'll start to impact other systems within our body. So, in terms of our lymphatic system, when our lymph system is backing up, there will be pain, there'll be symptoms like pain and inflammation. And what happens is that when metabolic waste starts to accumulate in our body, it'll start to affect other elimination organs. So our gut, our skin, our lungs, our liver, our colon, these are all of our and kidneys, these are our different elimination organs. And our liver is actually very, very involved with thyroid health because the T4 to T3 conversion, so the inactive to active conversion of thyroid hormone, 60% of it takes place in our liver. But our liver is also responsible for handling all of the chemicals that our body is exposed to. So, whether those chemicals are coming from the foods you're eating, the water you're drinking, the air you're breathing, stuff you're putting on your skin, for women, makeup products you're using, maybe stuff that's in your hair care, and not to mention pharmaceuticals. So, all of these chemicals your liver has to contend with. And what happens is when your liver is overworked, it will start to run sluggish. It's not going to be able to do what it's supposed to do. So, think of it this way: if you have a job and you have a particular role that you do and you're really good at what you do, but someone keeps piling on work. Like every day you come to work and there's like 10 more things to do. And then the next day there's 10 more things, but you didn't even get done the stuff that you had to do from the day before. All of this work starts to pile up. So what happens with the liver is that when your liver is overworked, and that could be because of all the exposure to the chemicals and heavy metals, it could be pharmaceuticals, it could be, if a really poor diet, right? So when you have a really poor diet and a lot of additives and preservatives in the food, your liver has to deal with all those chemicals. If you are someone who consumes alcohol, alcohol is like I wish I understood alcohol the way I wish I understood alcohol years ago the way I understand it now. The way that I understand alcohol is that alcohol is pure poison for our body. It's harmful for your stomach, your brain, your liver, your gut, your thyroid for those of you dealing with thyroid issues. So every single system in your body is harmed by alcohol, but especially your liver because your liver has to contend with the alcohol. It has to process it. So when your liver's not running at its optimal, it is going to affect that conversion from T4 to T3. So if you are someone who's dealing with thyroid issues, you definitely want to be supporting your lymphatic health as well as your liver. And so when your liver and your lymph system aren't optimally functioning, that's when it's going to start to impair thyroid function as well. And so it is really, really important to look at your body as a whole system and look at ways to support your liver and also your lymph system. So, some of the ways you can support your liver is definitely by cleaning up your diet, reducing the amount of chemicals and toxic load that you're exposing yourself to. And some of the simple things that you can do for supporting your liver is also castor oil packing. I recommend it to people all the time. That is one of the ways that you can support detoxification. There are other things you can do as well. And then in terms of supporting your lymph system, look at your diet first, right? So if you have a diet that is very, very mucus forming, very acidic, though that's the first thing that you wanna change, because what happens is when your diet is very, very acidic and mucus forming, it'll start to impair your lymphatic system, and so things will start to get more and more sluggish, and this is when fat starts to accumulate in the body because our body doesn't know what to do with all of these chemicals and additives and preservatives, and so it starts sticking them into fat cells because it doesn't know what else to do. So definitely changing your diet. So I would recommend bringing in the melons and citrus fruits and grapes, things that move the lymph. Like especially one of the best ways to move your lymph system is watermelon. Like watermelon will get in there and just start flushing things out. And there's a method to that, like a way of doing it in such a way that you're easing into it and you're not overwhelming your system. Like especially if you are someone who eats fast food or processed foods and you haven't had a great diet up to this point and then you want to start to change your diet, it's really, really important to go slowly because if you try to change everything overnight, what'll happen is that you will flood your body with all of this toxicity. That's when people start to get headaches, they feel worse instead of better, and it's because they were moving too fast. So we need to, like, really ease in. When I'm working with, groups and clients, we we actually take an entire month to transition the diet, and that is on purpose because, people have jobs, they have relationships, they have things going on in their life, and so most people can't be like flat on their back because of detox symptoms. So there is an art and a science to slowly transitioning your body in such a way that your body doesn't become overwhelmed with the toxicity within. And we always want to also open up the elimination pathways and make sure that you're able to sweat, you're able to go to the bathroom, number 1, and number 2, because that is also going to help your body to get rid of toxicity that is built up. And along with that, starting to move into some parasite cleansing as well, because anytime someone's system is really stagnated, there are parasites that are hiding out in different parts of the body, creating issues. And so we want to just also start to shift the internal terrain and start to work on the parasites as well. A lymphatic drainage massage is also a really good way to start to move the lymph, start to get things flowing and flushing out. Dry brushing. I love dry brushing. I actually have a dry brush that is like just outside the shower and it like sits on a windowsill, reminds me to use it before I get in the shower. And I've been wanting to do a dry brushing video for ages. So one of these days, I'm going to shoot a dry brushing video and have it up here on the channel. But dry brushing is really, really good as well because it moves the lymph. So our blood system has pumps, but our lymph system doesn't have any pumps. And this is why movement is so, so important for keeping our lymph going. One of the worst things that you can do is actually have a meal and then just sit on the couch for hours on end. I would say have a meal and then go for like a 10 to 15-minute walk because it's going to help your whole body, especially your lymph system. Rebounding, so if you wanna get yourself a rebounder, it's really, really beneficial. There's also vibration plates. Some people like one more than the other. I find rebounding is, like, kind of less jarring. So you can do rebounding, or if you prefer vibration plate, for sure, go for that. Walking, I just mentioned walking, but walking is absolutely amazing, not just for your lymphatic system, but every single system in your body. It's great for your brain health, your circulation, great for your digestive health, great for your muscles, great for your bones. And it's great for every single part of your body, great for regulating your nervous system, especially when you go out in nature and you're with trees and you're listening to birds. One of the things I heard recently that the sounds of birds outside actually help support nervous system regulation. And I don't know about you, but one of the things that I love is I love listening to birds. I'm usually listening to them outside my window as I do my morning meditation. When I'm out for my walks, I always listen to the birds as well. So just getting outside, being in nature, and there's different kinds of detoxification protocol. There's different herbs that you can take to really support your lymphatic system, support your kidneys, and and your overall system within your body. And those herbs are really meant to be paired with like potent fruits like watermelon, like grapes, because they will really start to clean up the internal terrain of your body. And like I said, there's an art and a science to it. So we don't want to ever rush into things, because when you rush into trying to clean up your lymph system, especially if there's been a lot of stagnation, a lot of chemical and heavy metal toxicity and parasites and things within your system, and you go too fast, it's going to flood your system and you're not going to like it. And this is when detoxification gets a bad rap, because people do it too quickly and they don't have the proper support, and they're kind of like trying to white knuckle their way through making certain changes. When you go very, very systematically and methodically, understanding how the body works and properly supporting your body, it can actually be really easeful. Doesn't mean that every single day is easy. I can tell you I've done different detoxification protocols over the years, and there's always a point where it's challenging, but it's not to a point where I'm so overwhelmed that I can't function in my day-to-day life. I'm able to continue to work, to see clients, to do all the things that I normally do, even when I'm on intensive protocols. And that's because I've been able to ease into it in such a way that I'm not overwhelming my body. A lot of it also has to do with the prep beforehand. How you prepare is really, really important, because that will also help support your body through the protocol. So, some of the next steps that you may want to consider, especially if you know that you've got thyroid issues, you know that your lymph system is very, very sluggish. How do you know your lymph system is sluggish? Well, if you're not going to the bathroom on a regular basis, if you're one of those people that goes number two once or twice a week or not very often, then your lymph system is definitely backed up. And if you don't address that, all of that toxic waste starts to back up into your tissues, your organs, your blood system. So this isn't something that you want to ignore. So making sure that you're addressing the root causes of what is happening within your body. So some of the things that you can do if you want to work with me, check out my Elevate program. This is a group program. It's really designed to take somebody from, like, say, a standard American diet and help them transition their diet gradually while bringing in like potent nutrient dense foods, helping support parasite cleansing, gut support as well, and then really teaching you how your body works, how different foods work within the body. And especially if you are somebody who's dealing with autoimmune conditions, whether it's Hashimoto's or Graves or other types of autoimmune conditions, this will really guide you through like how to support your body towards healing itself. And one of the things that I didn't mention when I had the thyroid slide up is that many people who have hypothyroidism, which is the sluggish thyroid, 90% of those individuals usually have an autoimmune condition called Hashimoto's. And a lot of people who have hyperthyroidism also have an autoimmune condition called Graves. So Elevate would be the perfect program to be in if your desire is to actually get to the root causes of autoimmune issues. You can follow me on Instagram and TikTok if you don't already. If you're not subscribed to this channel, please subscribe. And if you found value in this video, make sure that you share it with others. And then, like I said at the start of the video, make sure that you pick up my book, Finding Light, on Amazon. I literally wrote this book with the intention of sharing everything that I wish I had known when when I was younger, when I was starting out learning about health and well-being. Like, I really just kind of like stumbled into things that I wish somebody had just taught me. I I wish somebody had just taught me about mindset and about how food works in the body, about like different kinds of biohacks, and even having practices like gratitude and grounding and how powerful these things are. They're so simple and yet we're never taught them. And so I literally put all of those things in the book to help guide those who are ready and looking for some answers and really wanting to get their health back on track. So I'm going to stop my screen share. I want to thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you found value. Please share it with others. And like I said, if you're not already subscribed to my channel, please subscribe. And I will see you in the next video. Bye for now. Thanks so much for being here. I hope that you are enjoying the content on this channel. If you have not already done so, make sure that you subscribe and hit that notification bell so that you are notified every single time a new piece of content goes up. There is new content that goes up every single week. If you're not already a part of my online community, go to my website, sign up for my newsletter so that you are in the know. On my newsletter, I'll be sharing all kinds of promos and discounts as they come up. To work with me, check out my monthly membership, Elevate, which is really focused on addressing parasites and the root causes of chronic illness within the body. If you are interested in holistic health and well-being, you have definitely landed in the right place. Thanks so much for being here, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye for now.